All right, we're gonna do a new series today, and we're gonna enable the RFXcom in order to communicate with RFX or 433 megahertz devices. Um, we're gonna do that in a couple of files. We're gonna switch on some configurations. Now, what we've seen in the previous episodes, what we see here is the general user interface of Home Assistant, and when we would like to be able to switch on the RFXcom, we need to manually configure the YAML files. Now that's something new which I haven't said before. So basically, what is the YAML file? The YAML is a scripting language, and the whole Home Assistant setup really relies on all those scripting files, so all those YAML files. Now, in an earlier episode, we've created the config folder, and in that config folder, we're going to create an empty configuration file, and if we're going to show you, then I will do the following. So I've just started WinSCP. With WinSCP, we can actually log into to the SFTP server on the Synology if that's switched on, yes or no. How to switch that on, so how to switch SFTP on, you can find somewhere else on YouTube. I don't have a video on that. I'm not going to tell you right now, but we need SFTP for this. So I'm using WinSCP, and within WinSCP, I'm initiating a new session. So I have a new site. I've put in my IP address for my Synology server, port number 22, because I use SSH. So in my case, it's 22. Then I'm using my admin password for my Synology with the user login name. And if I click login, then it's going to find your Synology, it's going to log in, and it's going to log in right away into the volume Docker Home Assistant folder that we created. And then you have seen the config folder. If you're going to open that, then you see that the setup, what we did in the previous episode, already created some YAML files. They created the database, they created the log file, and they created some basic YAML files. The first file that we would like to edit is the configuration.yaml file, and that's the originating file with the basic setup of the whole system. So I'm going to click that open, and I'm going to use Notepad++ for that. So normally you download it to your computer and open it. I've already downloaded it in a different screen, and I am going to show you on screen. Here you go. So you see that that I've got some document, already some setup in here, which we're going to edit. Okay, I just noticed that the file that I'm showing you was not the original file. It was the file that I've pre-edited. So I have now put the original file on screen, and you can see that there's already some things in it. So the first thing we're going to do is put the base URL from the installation in there. So I did a copy paste, and here we go. So in my case, it's the base URL is HTTP. Base URL is the .2 at the end with the port number behind it. So that's my base URL. So in order to get your RFXcom working, we need to add the RFXcom credentials as well. If you go and look on the Home Assistant website, then you will see that there is an integration called RFXcom. So here we are at the Home Assistant website. So that's homeassistant.io. You can find it everywhere on the web if you type it in Google. Then you go to the integrations tab, and you get all those kind of integrations. Now for RFXcom, I just type in RFX, and you see that there's a lot of RFX type switches, covers, and whatever. In this case, that I just want to make sure that the system recognizes the RFXcom. So I'm going to click the hub, and within the hub you can see your base installation. So it's not much, but we have to add this piece of code to the configuration YAML file. In this case, I'm going back and just type. Oh, that's the previous one. Sorry. I'm gonna go back, and then we're gonna do this, copy, and we're gonna go into the file again, paste path to device. Now, and this is the actual path that we put in earlier on in one of the previous videos in the configuration of the Home Assistant container and Docker. In this case, it's the, oh, going again, I'm going to delete this one, I'm going to put in def, TTI USB 0. And that's basically the first part. So be aware that the RFXcom will show up in Home Assistant as a binary sensor. So what we're basically going to do right now is going to add a line of code in order for the RFX T-Rex platform to automatically add new binary sensors if he sees them on the receiver. So in order to do that, we're just going to click the binary sensor underscore sensor. We're going to and this is something important in the YAML language, that you need to get two spaces, so 1, 2, and there you're going to start your next sentence. So in this case, it's the platform. Platform is in this case RFX TRX, and I can probably hear you think, well, how do you know all these kind of commands or languages settings? That's basically what you can find in the Home Assistant website with the integrations and the coding stuff. You can find all those kind of things in there. But in this case, we need the platform RFX T-Rex, and then I would like to have automatic add, and I want to have that on true. This is basically the first part of the setup. So now we have the configuration YAML file for the first part ready, and don't forget to save it. Then we have the file, and we go back to WinSCP. Just moving back. Just checking the path again, so then I'll be writing my other configuration. This is the correct one. So I'm going to get my YAML file into this, just going to copy it in. So right now it's already uploaded. Now we have to go back into the Home Assistant itself, because there is one thing, that if you change your configuration YAML file or any other file except for the UI-Lovelace.YAML file, but all other files you need to reboot your system in some way. In this case, there is reboot or stop. So I'm going into my settings, I'm going into server management, and doing restarting or stop. So in this case, I will do restarting. Let's see what happens. Oh, the connection broken. Yeah, it's restarting now. And it takes a couple of seconds. It's not very long. So normally we can go back and just try to see the general overview. Here it is. And if we go to the development tools, and you can click the services, you can actually see all the sensor statuses, stuff like that, and we can see that there's already like a binary sensor updater, so we can see that, There's a persistent notification, entry discovery, notifying, new device discovered. This is the other one. But let's see what happens. Okay, so I've got my my normal remote for my normal 433 megahertz sensors, and that I've got click on, click out switches and lights, Kika lights. There's remote, and if I just push the button of the remote, you can see already that there is an additional binary sensor just popped up. And if I click the off button, you can see it go off. It's on and off, so it's actually seeing it. You're not seeing the off right now. Oh, there it goes. Yep, and you can switch it on again, and off again, and on again, and off again. Now that's the part where you just copy, like this part of that's the actual identifier of your transmitter or your receiver. The switch itself, I'm just going to copy this one. That's one important thing. You're not gonna, at least by the naming of the sensor itself, you can't see whether it is, which sensor it is actually. So we're gonna see that later on, and probably know that yourself already. Okay, just in order to get that particular switch, which I just pushed, I'm gonna add it to the switch.yaml file. That's a new file, it doesn't exist, so we're gonna create that. But from the configuration.yaml file, I need to include the switch file. So in this case, I'll type switch, switch, and I just exclamation mark doing the include command, and then I say switch.yaml, and I save that. So what I basically do right now is that I'm just I've saved the switch.yaml. I need to create a switch.yaml now, so I'm just going to copy the configuration.yaml, make a copy of it, and then rename it to switch.yaml. In this case, I'll put it on another screen. So it will be switch.yaml, and I will open the, oh, where is it? There it is. I will open WinSCP again, and with WinSCP you can't see any switch yet. Now I have I just try to upload the switch.yaml. You can see it right here. But my switch.yaml is still full with configuration.yaml file, so I'm just going to empty that file, make it completely empty in your Notepad++, and then save it away and upload it, and you have that switch.yaml file. Don't forget to upload your configuration file as well, because the include to the switch file is in there. So that's one. The next thing we need to do is add in my case, the Kika switches to the switch.yaml file. So basically we're going to type in, and we're going to do 2 spaces, 1, 2, and then we're going to put in platform. And we're going to do the platform as RFXcom, and then next line we're going to do under the key, we're going to do automatic add history, and I would like to have the signal being sent out twice, so I'm going to do signal repetitions 2. Then my devices, and that's where it gets interesting. That is where you add your actual device. I'm gonna do that, and 2 spaces. And under the V, I just copy paste my device ID, which I just had. So I'm going to go back to the Home Assistant screen. I'm going to copy my ID, and in that file, oh, wrong file. This one. I'm just going to copy it. So there you go. This was the idea. I would just have double dot, and then 1, 2, and we do put the name in, and the name is test 1. So this is the name of my actual Kika switch or light. I'm going to save that, and I'm going to upload this YAML file with everything being saved. I'm going to upload it into the directory. So I'm going to click that away. I'm just going to open WinSCP, and I need to copy in that switch file. There we go. Next thing is that we need to go back to Home Assistant, and within Home Assistant we go back into the settings, and we need to reboot the system again because it was a configuration file that we edited. So server management, restart, and there it goes. We need to wait for a couple of seconds, and then we'll go back into the system and see what happens. There we go. Click the overview. It's already there. Seems to be all. Yep, it's already there. We go back into the development tools, and I'm going to look if we've got anything going on here whatsoever. I'm just going to refresh it a bit. Oh, okay. So I've restarted the system after copying both files into the correct folder with WinSCP. And if we go to the development tools right now, and for some reason I had to refresh my browser a couple of seconds ago, and that worked quite well because we now see that the switch.test1 is actually added. So this is the switch that was actually in the switch.yaml file. So if I click my switch right now, it should toggle to on, and if I switch it off on my remote, it should toggle to off again. So you can also use the more info button over here and to switch it on or off. So that's one. But we now know that the switch is actually added. So if we go to the overview page, and we're going to configure the user interface, then you can see that there's a plus sign coming over here. We can click that, and if we now click entity or whatever you like, and you can find all those kinds of maps that are here. You can find it, or cards. You can find it on the Home Assistant website and what it actually is. And there's a lot of examples on the internet from people who are building all those cards. So that's quite awesome. In this case, we're just going to choose the entities button, and the entities, and I would like to have it, it's my power switch for my television. So in this case, I'm just backend selection here. You can, if you have more teams in there, you can select the team. Do I want to show the header? So yes or no. You can see what the difference is. So I don't want to switch on the header, and I want entity, and the entity that I want is switch 1. And now push the save button, and you can see that I've now created like a super simple switch selection with only one switch in it actually, but you can actually switch it on or off, and you can build fantastic things with this whole Lovelace interface. But we'll get onto that in a later episode. So this was it for today. If you like my videos, follow my channel, please, and like my video. I could very well use it, and it's very fun to see if people are actually watching it and having fun with it, and started to learn playing with Home Assistant because of that. Follow my channel to see my next videos. I'm going to do some more stuff with Home Assistant, trying to explain a little bit deeper into the matter. So this was it for today. Hope to speak to you, to see you next time. Cheers. Bye-bye.